So I use Microsoft Excel to document all of the access to information requests that come in, and it's been really great as to develop tables and to just store the data. MacDrive is where we actually store the Excel documents, but also the documents that we receive from our access to information requests. MacDrive is a storage system that is made accessible through McMaster.
So just like sometimes I'll have a variable that I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And then I'll text Marissa or bring it up to her in our weekly check-ins, and she'll be like, okay, try and do, like, first of all, some of the data is a little confusing. So she's like, okay, you need to incorporate A, D, and F in this one coding. And like, okay, here's a way you could do that. And then, I don't know, learning all of like the little tips and tricks and like even just new ways of how to like solve your issues through Stata is really like fun. It makes me feel like a computer programmer or like a hacker, like solving issues, even though I'm like, no, these are just commands in Stata that I'm using.
Okay, so Zotero is a citation management system. It's really great because we are actually able to combine what we found in the access to information requests, store all the data with regards to the name, page number, and all of that into an Excel sheet, our ATI Zotero sheet. And using a formula, we are able to develop a citation, which goes into our Zotero, building out our TechLobby archive. And in addition to developing that citation, we also attach the actual access to information document so that it is accessible for the collaborators on the project.
So I think what we are like, the only thing we are using the Google Suite now for is that online shared document to be able to work on. That's what we are using now. But like, anyway, the PRs are entirely in charge of this. If eventually they agree that we use Google Drive to store the document, the data, I will tell them the pros and cons, the security issue, but if they still want to go ahead to use Google Drive, fine. But we seem to be leaning towards OneDrive, and in this case, that will pose a challenge because of the accessibility. But like, I think that is what eventually we'll do. We use OneDrive to store the data, but when we are actively working on particular data, then we can always put it in the Google Drive and then work on. Once we are done with it, then it becomes a finished document, and we take it off from the Google Drive.
In my own projects, so I think there was a lot that I had to learn with regards to formulas, and just have one-on-ones with Sarah to go through how she was able to develop some of the formulas, just so I know how they operated. That was something that her and I worked on, which was really great and helpful.
Because our project is, our research is basically qualitative, we will be using the NVivo software program, and then in my coursework last 2 semesters, I didn't even know that Excel could serve as a software for data analysis. Yeah, so it's something that I personally want to use for my dissertation. Yeah, but the main project we are using the NVivo. Now the NVivo software will help us to transfer this data securely from the field, our recorded devices into wherever we want to store the laptop, and also help us to even transcribe the data as well. And it will also be used for data analysis.
So we mostly use Tim for our work, and we had to learn that it's best for one person to work on a document at a time, because Tim does this weird things where it just duplicates the document that you're working on if 2 people are working on it at the same time, and one person is working on it locally and the other person isn't. And so we quickly realized that that was not going to work best for us, given that we already have like proper file-naming convention to follow. And so we've just ensured that when you're working on one document, you're either working on it within Teams, or we just one after the other.
We use MacDrive, and we use OneDrive, and then we use Teams. And so I was familiar-ish with OneDrive, but I was not familiar with creating a whole Teams channel. And so for that, I really had to rely on the RDM people to meet with me and walk me through it.
And we also work with Asana. So one thing that I should mention is we've kind of adopted the Scott Long's principle of posting. I think that's what it's called. And what we tend to do is we have like this working folder, we have the stage, and then the posted. And we tend to have things move between working and stage all the time. And so to ensure that everyone is up to date on what's going on at every point in time, we also try to create like tasks in Asana as well, which just informs people like, oh, this is what's happening right now. You need to go check this document, just so everyone knows what stage we're at. So if the document is in stage and needs to be reviewed, then we need to create a task and make sure that the person that's supposed to review it gets that task assigned to them.
It was more just learning how it works, the permission settings, setting up encryptions, different passwords, but so far it's worked well. So for us, it's been a learning process, learning all the different tools of Microsoft Office.
So we've had to like modify our system and our processes over and over. Again, we're at the stage where we're just trying to understand and really work with the tools that we have. And so modifying things to ensure that it works for whatever system we're doing is pretty much what we're doing as we go.
This series is brought to you by Spark, a Center for Social Research Innovation.